Welcome to the digital glitter today, I'm calling it. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We're actually early. Well, late, early. It's all relative, I suppose. I bet you didn't think you'd get Einsteinian this early in the show, but D,
Welcome to the
go for it. Take it away.
digital. Oh, what's going on, everybody? This show, I think, is for educational. Yes, it is for educational and entertainment purposes only. You have to be 21 and over to be here. If not, you have to leave. That means you. Like you to me.
Some of our greatest presidents in the history have asked, "Is our children learning?" Well, in this show, no, because there are no children allowed. Get the fuck out if you are a child. Leave, abscond, be gone with the literally just bye. Like bye, Felicia. Seriously. If your name is Felicia or not, bye. Go away. If you're an adult, you're more than welcome to still hang out. For example, Jones N2 Grow and Pip Jam MBF. You guys are more than welcome. Cheers, guys. Welcome. But if you are a child, bye. Welcome, folks, though. If you guys are hanging with us, you guys are more than welcome. The rest of you, let me switch to live chat. You guys should as well. I like to just quickly remind folks that the live chat is a little bit less filtered chatting experience. You get a little bit less YouTube filtration. They still filter, weirdly enough, but you get the comments in the order that they were received. So fuck YouTube, honestly, seriously. Like every time they put their little fucking balls on your shoulder, it's kind of nice to throw those balls off. So switch to live chat if you're like me, so that you get a little bit more freedom in your life. Jones N2 Grow was first in the chat. Good to see you, Jones N2 Grow. Pip Jam MBF, one of the main moderators in the chat. Good to see you as well, Pip Jam. Always a pleasure, my friend. Looks like Finding Keepers is in the house again. Welcome back, Finding Keepers. Always a good name to see that. It's a great thing to do to find keepers, and of course, what a spectacular name. Guy tells you what he's about. That's it. That's all it is. It could be a chick. I don't know. It's like I remember the one line in Unforgiven, where towards the end, basically, I hope I'm not spoiling a 30-year-old movie, but when Clint
Spoiler
Eastwood
alert.
barges in to the saloon, I can't remember the name of the saloon, but they've recently killed his partner Ned, and Ned is basically standing outside with torches and stuff. They've stood him up basically as a dead body, kind of parading him outside the saloon. So Clint storms in basically and says, "Who owns this shithole?" And guy that owns the shithole basically says, "I own this shithole," and he immediately shoots him. And then Little Bell says, "You shot an unarmed man." And Clint Eastwood says, "Well, he should have armed himself if he was going to decorate his saloon with my friend." I think is fair, honestly, right? And then Little Bill basically says, "This is William Muddy was his name. I can't think of his fucking William Money, maybe. Anyway, from Missouri, he killed women and children." And then Clint Eastwood says, "Yeah, I killed women and children. I killed just about everything that walked or crawled on this earth." And I'm here to kill you, little Bill, for what you did to Ned. And I like to think he told you who he is, what he's about, why he's here, and essentially like his entire mission of everything. Like he's told you everything about him. You have no mysteries left. Basically, you know exactly who Clint Eastwood is in that situation. He's here to kill Little Bill, and you don't have to wonder why is he here to kill Little Bill because of what he fucking did to Ned. So perfect little encapsulation. Anyway, finders keepers, your name is just as good as that little encapsulation of Clint Eastwood's fucking finding keepers. You're not finding boof. You're not smoking bullshit. You're not I don't even know pounding tequila or some shit, You're finding keepers. Shit. Anyway, Gerbils, welcome to the show. I'm not making fun of it. I think it's actually a good name. Welcome, folks. Thanks very much for joining us. You guys are more than welcome to hop on and, of course, join us on the panel. I'll get to that in a second. Please do say hello in the chat if you guys are joining us. If you're new to the show, for example, we rarely get shown to new people, but we do every once in a while get a new viewer. So if you are a new viewer, please feel free to say hello in the chat. We'd love to say hello to you. Tell us about your garden. Tell us, don't have to tell us shit, honestly, but you could certainly tell us about your garden if you'd like to. Say something funny, ask a question in the chat, whatever, just say something is more important, honestly, than anything, because otherwise we'll never get to know you. If you'd like to get on the show, God damn it, I'm almost done with this fucking bronchitis, but it's still here. If you guys would like to hop on the show, you are welcome to hop on the show. There are some very key rules that you need to follow. I think they're pretty easy to abide by. Most of the people that have been on the panel have never violated a single one of these fucking rules because shit on a brick, you would have to be a goddamn fuckwit to do so. But wouldn't you know it, we've had a number of fuckwits, so please don't be one of them. All you have to do is don't be a dick, don't show your dick, and don't be a lunatic. Pretty fucking easy, honestly. You are a lunatic, look in the mirror. If you're a lunatic, if you're fucking stark raving mad or something, don't come on the show. If you're this, if you've got your dick in your hand right now and you're gonna come on the show with your wiener in your hand, you want to show it off to everybody, this is not the show for you. Go
Hmm.
start an OnlyFans or something. I don't know. And of course, if you want to be a dick, you'd be way better off starting your own Twitch, YouTube channel, or whatever. I mean, Logan Paul just fought Mike Tyson, got millions out of it. He's a widely renowned dick and a half. Ladies and gentlemen, you could be the next Logan Paul. You could be fighting
Bonk.
Tyson Fury or something when he comes back or something. Although I heard that Vladimir Klitschko is thinking about coming back, so you could fight Vladimir Klitschko in his senescent some shit. I don't even know. Cheers, Newfla or Newflee. Is that how it is? How it's pronounced, D?
Yeah,
Always pronounced it wrong, I think.
right on. What's going on, you please?
I don't know. Cheersy. Good to see everyone in the chat. Welcome, folks. Like we like to say, or as we like to say, welcome lurkers, non-lurkers. Of course, if you guys are working in the garden or something, you don't have to cross the room and come over and say, "Oh, hello, I'm over in chat lab and pruning plants." We understand. Obviously, this show is
Oh,
a good background listening show. So anyway, but still, folks, you guys are always welcome to hop on. And of course, if you guys would like to hop on the panel, please do. Just ask for the link. We'd be happy to provide it. We have a couple moderators ready and waiting, just with their trigger fingers ready to give you a link. So just ask nicely, hey, can I hop on the show? And we'd be happy to provide you the link. What's going on, D? Welcome.
what's going on, everybody? What's going on, chat? I'm smoking on Dark Horse. By the way, new fleas in the chat. Thank you very much. I'll get that list to me. Give me that list. I'm also got. Okay. So first, I'm smoking on several different types. Apparently, they're Dark Horse genetics. I got four different strains, and then I got some hash, and then as well. Okay, so then I got normal like other bud. I got DNA cake. I've got meat breath still. I got some super pink kush, and then what's this one? Oh shit! See, I can't even read it. Oh yeah, space fronts. Hope everyone's having a great day. Don't forget to check me out on my channel, DZombie_745, where I do pre-shows on my channel.
He sure likes the doo-doo.
The do. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, folks. I just took a Tylenol because my neck is fucking bugging me. But hopefully it goes away a little bit. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, do say hello in the chat. We don't have too many folks in the chat, and we certainly don't have too many people in the panel. So we'll give it a little bit longer. Sometimes when we don't, or how do I put this? Sometimes when folks don't hop on the show, D and I just cut the show a little bit early because shit, what's the point of just kind of twiddling our thumbs on here? But sometimes, of course, the show starts a little bit late, so folks come on a little bit later. So I guess we'll goof off until we decide what happens, I suppose. Do hop on though if you guys would like there to be a show. If you guys would like to enjoy a high noon safety meeting, it'd be nice to be able to have a discussion. So do hop on. I'm very happy in my storage. I found a somewhat chipped, but still seemingly in order hookah head. I guess they actually call these. How funny of a name. You'd think it would just be called like a hookah bowl or something, like we're used to, like if it was a bowl. Uh, Although I guess you could call this, I suppose if it's a dab rig, we have weird names too, right? Bangers and fucking terp slurpers and whatever else. So yeah, who am I to judge with hookah head? But anyway, the Bernie part, pretty much, or rather the place where you put the tobacco and then you put the Bernie thing on top. I apparently have a Syrian style hookah. And it's been a fucking bear and a half to find I broke my I had two bowls basically, and I broke my other bowl in moving about a year ago. And I was like, oh, it's gonna be no problem. You know, me thinking like a dumbass, oh, it's gonna be no problem. I see hookah bowls all over the place. Because yeah, there's hookah shops all over the fucking place. When I was in Los Angeles, there was probably 8 million hookah shops. Even in Portland, there's probably 100. That's an exaggeration, but there's literally probably 20 hookah shops in Portland, so it's not hurting for hookah stores. And then a lot of different like tobacco shops and stuff will have like one of my favorite tobacco shops in Portland, 82nd Pipe and Tobacco, has quite a decent hookah selection. In fact, that's where I bought like an extra hose and stuff like that. Anyway, wouldn't you know it, there are two styles of hookah head. There's the Syrian style, and there's the everything else style, which is apparently Egyptian style, but basically everybody else adopted the Egyptian style. And then there's the Syrian style. Well, guess what country was in a civil war for the last 15 fucking years? It wasn't the other one, it was Syria. No, I couldn't get another fucking Syrian bowl. It turns out I bought my hookah from a Syrian basically years ago. And that actually makes sense. I remember I was kind of friends with them years ago. I mean, semi-friends. They didn't come to my fucking bar mitzvah or something. But I was friendly with these people that owned a shop basically off of, no, right on Morrison, and the husband ran the store across the river. He had a shop. I guess they've sold both shops, but it was, I want to say, Riverside Tobacco, basically right on Powell. And then the wife owned the shop or ran the shop, whatever, however they ran their arrangement on Morrison. Anyway, and the dude was a Syrian immigrant. She was an American chick, and he was a Syrian immigrant. And sure enough, like a lot of immigrants, he probably called his family back home, and he was like, "Oh shit, we can totally make a fortune on Syrian hookahs," because back home they were probably $15 or whatever, and he was selling them for, yeah. I remember it actually wasn't a very bad price. It's a beautiful hookah, actually. It's got this beautiful green glass, this beautiful fish and stuff. Anyway, I really like the hookah, but it's been a bear of a fuck to get a new goddamn bowl. And sure enough, I think I even got the replacement bowl because, like I said, I had two bowls. I got the original bowl that there was nothing wrong with, and then I got the replacement bowl, which I think is this one. I don't quite remember which one was which, but I think this was the replacement bowl because it was green, right? And the original bowl, I think, although now that I think about it, this might be the original because it is green and the hookah is green. But anyway, regardless, doesn't fucking matter. Turns out I got the replacement at that shop, and then basically going all around the city, Portland, all around Los Angeles, all around online. Da, da, da. Finally, someone actually told me, a guy actually at 82nd, a really helpful Arab guy, told me, "Oh, this is actually a Syrian bowl." And so finally, I had something to Google. Fuck off, they're so difficult to get. Anyway, so I found this in my fucking storage. Thank fuck, you can't even imagine how I rejoiced.
Right on.
uh like I used to smoke my hookah fairly often, but I've had to use like which is tasty, but you can use like a grapefruit head. You basically cut the grapefruit in half. You can use other fruit too, but a grapefruit is very tasty. So you essentially fabricate. It's kind of like making an apple bowl for. Although I guess now that I think about it, most people make like an apple bong. But anyway, you can make an apple bowl for your bong, right? But I guess a lot of people don't really bother now that I think about it. Anyway, you can make a grapefruit bowl basically for your hookah by cutting the grapefruit in half, hollowing out a little tiny bit in the middle, and then you put your tobacco in the middle, and the tobacco is already quite moist, so you don't really have to worry about the grapefruit being too moist. And then you put the
Boy.
charcoal, essentially, you wrap the tobacco still, and then you put the charcoal on top of the tobacco, and then the tobacco smokes. And of course, you don't have to just use tobacco; you can use hash and whatever, like many times they do in freaking Syria. Anyway, I'm quite happy that I found this goddamn bowl. Now I have to not break it because this is the only one I have. But anyway, nobody's hopping on today. No North Star, no other folks. We'll give it a little bit longer, folks, and then maybe we'll bounce because I still have plenty of stuff to do at my house. So, excuse me.
Oh, I wonder if I
What's
can
going
show
on
that.
with you, D? Anything new?
No, I'll try to show that thing I tried to send you uh, earlier of what paint to paint your house.
Oh, right.
Well, maybe. Oh shit. Uh, oh, for fuck's sake, I hate when that happens.
There's Brain Dead. It's always surprising that Brain Dead could say hello to us. Oh, wow. Look at that.
Yeah, wait for it to restart. Here we go. This is pretty cool.
Oh,
There's
that's
a paint. There's a paint for your house, Fumi.
right? Iridescent. I've seen a few cars that way. That paint job or whatever. What do you call
Yeah,
it? What's the name of that? Just iridescent paint or some shit? There's a name for it. I can't think of it right now.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I'm not sure, but I
yeah, the
knew a
fuck's the
guy.
name,
I knew a
right?
guy in high school that had his car painted like that. It was like
No
blue,
shit.
and if you look at it, the light looks pink,
Huh?
and it
Wow.
looks like green as well or something.
In Portland, there's a dude that drives one of those BMW, what is it, the i9 or whatever, that kind of it's not a full-on supercar, but it's kind of like the BMW supercar. Anyway, it's in that iridescent paint job, and it's super slick looking. It's very look at me energy, but still, it's pretty slick. I mean, whatever. It's a of all the look at me, I'm an asshole colors, that's definitely the best. So. And honestly, I would prefer to look at that color or that car than a Cybertruck painted almost any color.
Oh
Hyper
God,
Newfleet is saying. Oh my fucking God.
hyper ship.
Apparently, the FBI director is resigning at the end of the term, and Kash Patel, who's apparently a full-on Q guy, is taking over. So that's going to go great. So we're gonna have a great time, everybody. We're going to be smiling ear to ear, ladies and gentlemen, for the next few years. Uh, Finagler Czar. Razorellangat. I don't even know what that is backwards. Oh, there's North Star
Right on.
in the day. Look at that. Right in time. I was just about to say, like, we're gonna fucking cut it soon, but maybe we'll have a little discussion after all.
Maybe.
Yeah. As everybody painfully looks at North Star. What's he doing? Hey, North Star, what's going on?
Trying to get my phone oriented here. I got it.
No, that's pretty
There we
funny.
go.
Pretty
You were
funny.
sideways on the phone, and I was the other way around.
That's it.
Um, Doing good. Now, just to let you know, strange, it did not ask me for a code to get in here today.
Huh.
Well,
There
it
was
said
no
you.
code needed to get into your show today. I hit the
Wonder
link,
if I did
and then
something wrong.
actually it had went to this page, and then a bunch of stuff came up in like a different language. It was like Tajikistan or some all kinds of crazy things, and that
Oh,
just went away. Then I started logging in and out twice, and then got into your show.
All right. Well, I guess we've been hacked
I'd
by the
never seen that
FSB or
before. I
something.
don't know.
Hello, Vladimir. Welcome. We
I
don't want you
figured
to
I'd give you
bother
a
us,
heads up in
please.
case you see something weird popping up on your thing all of a sudden.
That's it. Yeah, please don't throw us out of any windows, Vladimir. We would really appreciate it if you don't blow us up or throw us out. Defenestration is what it's called to throw someone out of a window. They really love throwing people out of windows or accidentally falling, they say. So and so accidentally fell out of a window, but of course everyone knows that they're not accidentally falling out of a fucking eighth floor window. Shut the fuck up. But yeah,
It's awful hard to do.
that's their favorite thing to do, to accidentally push people out of fucking windows. Oh, so and so said something bad about Vladimir. Oh, he accidentally fell out of the ninth floor window today. It was terrible. So yeah, stay away from any windows. North Star, do you have any eighth floor windows? I would stay away. I would stay
I'm
away from
only two
anything over
stories
like
here,
the second
so
floor.
luckily I don't have too far to fall anywhere.
Nice, nice. Or I don't know, wear a parachute or something.
Because I shouldn't climb on
Or
the
I
roof at
guess
all.
wear a bubble suit maybe. Can you wear like a full
Bubble
body bubble
boy.
suit maybe? That's it. Have you ever seen those like ripcord I guess I've seen them more for bicycle helmets.
For
It's
motorcycles,
ripcord bicycle. Yeah, 100%. It's like a ring
I've
and then
seen
basically if it senses something it goes whoop.
they've got it's like a vest and pants that it
Oh
actually has like
wow.
a ripcord that hooks to the bike. So when you fall off it, it instantly inflates like to protect your tailbone.
Huh,
Um, and like side of your arms, it can withstand the road rash. It's like Kevlar made.
that would
It's
be
like an
chill.
airbag that
Yeah,
wraps around your body. When you fall off your bike, it instantly ignites it, gives you some kind of cushioning, I guess, and then help you slide along the ground as you're
right. Gosh, that would
going
be
across the
terrible.
asphalt there.
Because every time I guess up here maybe it's a little bit better, but even still in the summertime, I'm like, fuck. Or whenever I see a properly dressed motorcyclist, I'm just like, how do they do it in 100 something degree heat and a goddamn black full on, armor, right?
Oh,
It would be so much more practical if you had something that could just inflate, right, instantly. But whatever. I guess that's the price you have to pay. I don't know. I was talking to a friend about this the other day. I was like, "Fuck, I would love to ride a motorcycle, but I grew up around so many people that were fucked up. Like my uh what was he? Stepbrother, I guess, was paralyzed on one side of his body because basically right around the age like 22 or so. It was such a sad story. 22, he got high one day. It was apparently his fault too, so he admitted everything. But he got high one day and then basically got into an accident on admittedly one of the worst parts of Portland. Uh, you guys probably don't know, but if you're from Portland, it's on the I-5, I-84 merge, basically northbound, basically over the river. And it's this oftentimes very confusing overpass, basically, that slopes. So it's kind of a natural dead zone that you basically are not only merging, but you're also the people coming up from. Where are they coming up from on that side? Anyway, wherever they're coming up from over there, from 405, I guess, they kind of slope up, so it's hard to see them basically. Anyway, he was driving a motorcycle, or riding a motorcycle rather high, and got whacked by, this is way back in like the late 70s, whacked by an RV and almost fell off the river, almost got knocked basically 100
Oh,
feet into the water. But that would have been, of course, the end. In the meantime, he got just completely fucking paralyzed on one side of the body. Anyway, so it just every time someone tells me, "Oh shit, I'm getting a bike," I'm like, "Oh fuck." Anyway, I would smile ear to ear if I could ride a bike, but god damn, they're so fucking dangerous. Anyway, people in the chat
I
that
had a
bikes
friend of mine years
right
ago
now.
came and visit me all the way from Reno. I mean, he rode his bike for like 3.5 hours
Hmm.
out here. I'm like, bikes are kind of fun, but I don't know if I want to just be like actually traveling that far on a bike. I just,
Especially the dudes that have the monkey bars. Holy shit, have you seen those guys traveling on the freeway? I'm like, and they have
oh
to take
yeah,
a
no, no
once
thanks.
in a while. I'm just like, what are you doing? Anyway, I know that some bikes, tours and stuff, or cruisers, I guess, are much more comfortable, but still. Anyway, what was I going to say? North Star, what's new with you? We were just
um,
kind of shooting the shit.
actually, I'm been harvesting some indoor stuff. I had a bunch of stuff come down like a week, about a little over a week ago. It's all drying rack, getting drying up, and then I have a bunch of this Dr. Kananga, which is basically it's a Apollo times Oaxacan times Santa Marta
Oh,
times
awesome.
cheese times Santa Marta. So it's got a lot of sativa in it.
Hmm.
But two of them are pretty heavy on the Apollo leader, so they're about week 10. They just came down, so they're looking pretty good actually.
Hmm.
The other, I have like four more in there that I'd say are probably going to go week 12. Most of them, one of them looks like it's going to go further than that. So
Hmm.
I'm probably going to have like three more coming down in the next week and a half, 2 weeks, and then yeah, one of them's going to probably be like Christmas morning. I might be taking it down, kind of thing. We'll see.
You know, I've said this, I don't think I've ever had a chance to ask you this before. Um, we've had a few people on the show before, passing through on the panel and stuff, that kind of made the statement that to get the kind of ceilingless, uplifting, cerebral psychedelic high that you think of when you think of like 1970s or super, super old school sativas, you have to get these super long flowering plants. And I've said, oh, I just think that's a matter of selection. That honestly, you could do, first of all, you can find some of those kinds of plants in short flowering sativas, but also that you could very much select in those lines for something that finishes in 8 or 9 weeks, even if it were a 12-week sativa to start with, and still get that same high. I don't know. Do you think that's possible? It seems like you could, right?
For sure. The Apollo itself is a very, I mean, the buzz off of it is electric. I mean, if you smoke weed, you get paranoid. It's very upbeat.
Mm.
It's very heady. Yeah, it's not a pure sativa high, but I mean, by itself, a sucker finishes like 8 weeks. You can bring it in usually. I mean, it's pretty quick flowering. So it's part of the reason why I use it for. It's one of the reasons I use it for a lot of my sativa breedings because I can retain all that. I'm not adding any kind of heavy indica notes into it at all, or any
Oh,
kind of big chunky leafy kind of structure to it, and help bring the flowering time down.
Mm.
So
uh-huh.
I think it really comes down a lot to selection. If you had a big selection, you really had the clear mind to be able to smoke these and take all the proper notes and write that down along with their flowering times. Yeah, it's just a matter of continually picking the best high with the shortest flower and breeding for that.
Mm. Yeah, I've thought the same thing, that it's really just another, what's the word?
I think
I'm
in
thinking of the word
generic
selection.
terms, you're gonna find that in those long. If you flower something for 16, 17 weeks, yeah, it's probably going to be some real clear headed
Mm.
high and stuff. Most sauces will be that way too, but I do believe you can find that same. Basically, you're looking for the same trichome makeup. Whatever's in those trichomes give you that nice clear high. You can find that in a shorter flowering plant too. It's not exclusive to 20-week plants and shit like that. So
Yeah, I think we had well, I don't know, we don't have to point fingers or anything, but we had a couple of old timers basically that made it a habit of kind of saying that you had to have these super long flowering plants to get that kind of high, and it was almost like a point of pride. And I just remember thinking the whole time, I never really confronted them about it, but I just remember thinking like it's not very sound logic. You've really just basically scratched the surface on that plant's capabilities, basically, right? Like you're going to find a lot of different what resistances and everything else. If you dial into that plant, you're going to find all kinds of different facets of that plant. Basically, if you were to break it open, basically, and you'd find some short finishing, some even longer finishing plants, on and on and on. Anyway, I don't know. I guess I'm talking for the sake of talking right now, but I don't know. It's interesting because I think one of the biggest complaints, partly because it's one of the biggest complaints about sativas, is that they tend to go longer, right? Well, again, I think that's really just selection. I think the fact of the matter is that we've just not probably had enough breeding on sativas, or quote unquote sativas, right? But we haven't had enough breeding on these long flowering plants to specifically bring down their flowering times. Partly because probably a lot of the places where they're bred and grown outdoors, and there's no reason to bring down the flowering time because I mean they're grown in the place where they're grown. You're not going to change the sun, right? Like you'd have to
mm-hmm.
grow them in a different place basically to actually breed them for that place. I don't know, I guess I'm talking out loud, but go ahead.
I think you have too. I mean, a lot of people that do a lot of the breeding that's everywhere nowadays. A lot of it goes into production facilities and so forth. So
Mm.
obviously, when it comes to making money off of these plants, they're going to be less desirable just because of the amount of runs you can pull down in a year. So I think a lot of people don't even want to start with that because they're not interested in trying to work with something that's 17, 18 weeks and trying to get it to 14 or 13. That still might be too long for them. They want something that comes down to 8 weeks or 9 weeks for sure. And I think the fact that they take so long to flower, I think it becomes for a lot of people to take that task on is daunting to begin with. Like, oh, I'm gonna have to go ahead and work on these projects. I'm gonna get so much less done if I work on all these. Hopefully I can make 2 batches of seeds in a year, and I can work through them. And I can flower. The whole process of making the seeds and then flowering those seeds out and hunting through them.
Mm.
It just elongates everything so much longer. And I think it deters people from beginning the process just because it's
And it's a very
and
good
then
point too.
and the end product too is you have people that don't want to buy it because it's going to take that long to flower or a long flowering process. So it's like you could put in 3 years of work and get a killer head sativa that comes down in 12 weeks flat, which is really good. And it most delivers you a pure Thai Colombian high or something that's just out of this world. It's still not going to be like the most popular thing, and people aren't going to be growing it everywhere because it's doesn't have the look, doesn't have the profit capability that you would have in a shop, so it's not going to be promoted as much by other people. It's just, I mean, I'm sure people have done the work for themselves, and they're probably out there smoking super soaring sativas that come down in 10, 11 weeks and loving it. And unless all of a sudden a clone sneaks out of their garden somewhere, no one's going to know about it, maybe.
Mm. That's I think you nailed it, and I think a lot of that is kind of at least in my opinion, it's an unfortunate reality of the situation. You also nailed it too when you say, I was making it sound like it's so easy to bring down the flowering time of a long flowering sativa, but you're still talking about, let's say if you self the plant, right? Like if you
Yeah.
literally got a couple of clones and self it against itself, you'd still probably have to pull through 1,000 different varietals, maybe a little bit more. I don't know exactly. I guess I'm spitballing how much it would be. It could be 10,000 that you have to go through, but it could be as much as 1,000 to get a strong, vigorous, tasty representation of what you're looking for that also flowers short, right? So you're looking for all the best characteristics of your plant that just so happens to flower shorter than any other of its sisters, basically. So, right, like
Yeah.
you're basically be looking for a 10 out of 10 that's also a unicorn. So you'd have to basically run through a fair amount of seeds. You could get lucky, right? You could find in your first 10, but you'd probably have to run through a good amount of them. So that means time, space, labor, you name it, right? Because running through 1,000 different varietals, it's still
Yeah.
you're talking about how you run through stuff in a 10. That's still a lot of running through. So,
Let's say you start with 1,000. You start with a 20-week cultivar. all right, you pick some stuff out, and now you're down to 16 weeks. Well, it's still 16 weeks. Your length time is
Mhm.
still long. So say it takes you 6 or 7 generations to get down to this what you want. Well, it might have been 6 years worth of work
Mhm.
with long flower and varieties to get down to that killer killer strain, and then all that work goes into it, and people are like, oh, I'm only willing to pay $50 for a 10 pack. You're like, really?
Yeah,
I've spent half my life trying to get this thing perfect. Then
that's it.
it's just the way it is sometimes.
What do you think the future of cannabis breeding is? I've asked you this a million different times, but I keep trying to wonder because it changes, I think, every few months. What do you see it being in the next few months? Or I don't know. How do you look at it? I guess is maybe a better question.
I was thinking about this the other day actually a little bit, and I got a little bit different take, just starting to formulate it in my head some too. I can see where technology comes in a lot to where an individual person has a device or whatever, and whether they breathe into it, blood samples, different things, and the device tells you, hey, these types of things would really elevate your mood and might help with different conditions you have. So there might be some kind of way to where people are actually trying to find out what they can get, what breed specifically for them, what their conditions would be, or their mindset. If you could find a way to integrate them together, and then that device or app, whatever it is you're using, that takes your biometric information and translates that into cannabinoids that you should be taking in to help with whatever you're looking for, points you at what kind of strain you're looking at. Has test results from clones or dried material, different things, and it tries to hook together your best plant for mood elevation for your body type, your best plant for pain for your body type. I mean, whether it's your blood type, your muscle structure, all the different things you take into your body, and that would kind of more customize the strain for you. So maybe instead of you going out and picking up advice from 15, 20 people about what would work for your back pain and trying all these different things to find out what works, this app or device might narrow you down to 2 or 3 to start with that would focus on your body type the most, that would be effective for that.
It seems like far-fetched technology, but actually, when I think about it, it's really not all that far-fetched. It's the kind of thing that
No,
you
that's not.
could, in theory, do already now. It would just take a few
Mhm.
weeks to do it. For example, you might be able to send your genotype, like people do the 23andMe. It was probably a scam.
Allergy testing, all that kind of stuff they do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And they send that off, and you can get some of the data back in a few days. What was I going to say? If you could correlate that basically with a full data set of the cannabis, and actually, there's a few different websites. Where do I have? I think I have one on my phone.
Well,
Anyway,
this is where I think the rescheduling is going to help with college. Maybe we can start getting some research together with cannabinoids and effects and body types. We can start putting together more legitimate information that people can base studies off of, and hopefully start producing more products and so forth.
Finding Keepers is calling it the cannabinoid breathalyzer. How funny.
Something like that. Yeah, I mean, it could be. I mean, I hear ads. I've been hearing ads on the radio recently for this thing where you wake up in the morning and you breathe into it, and it tells you whether you're burning carbs, burning fat, and it helps you set your diet, start your day off with what you should start eating with and drinking with in the morning, as to what your body's burning, and to try to keep your
Well, I
metabolism
guess
in a.
not that far-fetched because they say that when you burn fat, you actually exhale it as carbon dioxide, right? So
I
presumably
think
they
so.
could check your exhalation. I guess I've never thought of that. I guess they would check your exhalation gases. How funny is that? Holy crap, how funny. Um, yeah, and if you interpolate all these things in the future with an AI, which by the way, everyone's phone is going to be filled with AI assistants in the near future, and people will have their smartwatches that will check their blood pressure and their fucking breathalyzer and whatever else. So before we know it, we'll probably have AI interpolation of all our data. It's probably basically coming in the next year or two, not even in
Your
10.
box go ding ding ding. It says, you know what? Oh, time for a bong rip of cherry pie. Okay, I guess so.
Yeah. I mean, it
There's you
sounds
have anxiety
bizarre and
building
it
up or
it
something.
could be misused precipitously, of course, but can you imagine, let's say with diabetics, if their watch or their telephone told them, "Hey, you better go eat a piece of candy or you better go drink an orange juice or you better go check your insulin or whatever the fuck," right?
Yeah.
That could change people's quality of life probably instead of regularly testing or screwing up or whatever else, they would regularly be reminded by their AI to kind of stay in optimal health. That would be something else too, right? An AI that
Have
actually
built in
made
CGM,
an
yeah.
effort to optimize your health. Like the American medical system doesn't do anything to optimize people's health. People have talked about, among all the other problems that we don't even have to talk about on the show, dude got murdered over this stuff, right? We don't even have to talk about all that kind of the billing and everything else. The fact of the matter is, the American system doesn't do anything to encourage people to actually optimize their health, right? And so very rarely you get like Kaiser and whoever that tells you to go and run, 3 days a week or something, right? That's all they fucking do is basically encourage you to optimize your health. But there's actually nobody out there trying to optimize your health. Can you imagine if an AI actually were on your side trying to tell you, hey, you've already maxed out on calories today, try to eat a salad, or you're not going to want to be nannied probably, so we're going to have those kind of problems. But it would be very interesting to have someone kind of on your shoulder reminding you how to live sort of your best life, right? It'll be very interesting that it takes a fucking AI to get there, right? I guess there's no.
You would think, and the thing too is people that are really interested in that would have that feature turned on. That's what one of the reasons I had this phone or this app is because that's what I wanted to help keep me geared. I mean, I'm a triathlete. I got to be on point with everything. My intake, my energy expenditure. I really got to focus on everything. I can see athletes using the hell out of something like that to really give them that little bit of edge.
Can you imagine too that it could be so useful and intelligent? As humans, for example, I was just talking about dieting. I know somebody who's trying to keep track of her calories, which I'm sure is infuriating, right? So I know a lot of men don't have to keep track of their calories as much. So I feel quite a bit of sympathy for any that do it, and then of course for women that do it. Can you imagine if you had an AI that not only, so for example, I think in these circumstances, you oftentimes hear, just the other day, I heard, oh shit, I basically went over my daily calories. Like they were trying to eat such and such and such, and we had such and such and such, and they were 200, 300 calories over or something. Can you imagine if you had an AI that already sensed at lunchtime, it knew how many calories, it interpolates from your plate because your phone could literally just basically recognize the image and it could estimate based on, oh, it's got about 3 ounces of pork and 2 ounces of fucking butter and da 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 da. It would basically it could fairly accurately estimate your calories because that's fairly settled science right now. People estimate calories pretty well in kitchens and stuff. So
Yeah,
the AI could basically say, oh, you're already 67% of your caloric intake for the day, and it could create a recipe based on what it knows you have in your fridge. Or it could basically interpolate, oh shit, you should go to this restaurant to eat such and such so that you come under your calorie. Could you imagine if you had something basically on your side like that? I mean, again, a lot of people wouldn't want to be nannied like that, but it would be very interesting that it could like positively nudge you in the right direction, right? Instead of telling
I
you
think we're
no,
going to see it really
tell
soon.
you into a better path. Pardon?
I think we're going to see it really soon. Frankly,
Yeah,
all this stuff we're going to see really soon.
yeah. No, you're right. I mean, Apple Intelligence, supposedly they're working on that kind of stuff. They have already they've already integrated quite a bit. Well, I don't have an Apple Watch, so I guess I don't know from firsthand experience, but they have what blood pressure sensing, heart rate monitoring, oxygen monitoring. What else? They just released something else the other day, or maybe the blood pressure sensing was new. I can't remember. Anyway, now the new headphones are qualified hearing aids,
Yep.
basically. And if you've ever met someone that has hearing aids, they're really expensive. Like even if you get them at Costco, they're $1,200, $1,500, and if you get them somewhere else, they're thousands of fucking dollars. So can you imagine you get I mean, Apple headphones are overpriced for what they are because you can't replace the batteries and stuff, but still $300 for ear or hearing aids must be tremendous, right? That will be seamlessly integrated into that kind of Apple intelligent ecosystem. Okay, again, like some of us might want to go back in time and just have like, regular headphones and da da da, right? But it's also kind of interesting, this new future that we're going to have. Anyway. North Star, I guess since no one else is hopping on, nobody else feels like fucking hopping on and joining us. Not Miranda, not anyone else. Speaking of which, Miranda, hop on, join the conversation. Shit. North Star, what do you think about what was I going to say? California is apparently this next year allowing like not just cannabis lounges because they've had cannabis lounges, but they're loosening up the food rules. Apparently, I don't quote me on this, but if as I remember, they're loosening up the food rules so you will actually be able to prepare food on site because apparently because like there's a few places in Los Angeles the Woods and a few other ones that are basically owned, like Woods is owned by Woody Harrelson and Bill Maher, and anyway, whatever. There's a few of them down there, super swanky, kind of high end, but the food cannot be actually prepared on site. It has to be prepared at some kind of a fucking kitchen, and the best they can do is air fry it, basically. So the place that I went to, which was not the Woods, it was the Woods, it was impossible to park by. The one I went to was Paradise Cove or some shit. Anyway, also super nice place, but they got around the rules by air frying the fucking food. And I'm just like, Jesus, like, is a kitchen so much of a fucking problem in a goddamn weed plate? Well, so apparently California's loosening those rules so that you'll actually be able to prepare some foods. I don't think the full kitchen, but it was at least more. And not only that, you'll be able to have like entertainment, like music and kind of cultural stuff, like concerts and stuff. So to me, that's like the key right there. If you could chill out at a cannabis place and listen to jazz or music or whatever, fuck, that would be a fine evening, right? Like the whole idea of like a cannabis lounge that you just go to smoke is kind of weird, right? Like you just, for me, I just go
Yeah.
smoke in my house. But like the idea that I could go and listen to music, have a bite to eat, they don't
Well, yeah,
serve
yeah, exactly.
alcohol,
The
but
way it is now, it would be like going to a liquor store and sitting in the store and drinking the beer.
yep, yep, yep.
That makes no sense. Like I go to the store to pick it up and I go home to enjoy it. I don't,
Yep,
it's nothing. They have nothing there for me other than the product. So
yep.
why would I hang out there?
Yeah, it's kind of a good metaphor, and that's been my weird sensation of it, that even the nicest of these lounges and clubs and stuff have felt a little bit like that, kind of sitting down at the liquor store. That's a great way to put it. Maybe we can hybridize it. We can say it's like sitting at the wine shop, but it's not very comfortable. Like there's some kind of a weird uneasiness about it, right? But if you could actually
Yeah,
have like normal food and whatever else, yeah. God forbid you could have a glass of wine with your joint, but I guess it's going to take forever for us to allow that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, Rory's saying we need that here in Oregon, 100%.
I don't know. Maybe if the places do like kind of like the wine tasting kind of setup, that'd be kind of a cool if they actually had that where you walk into a place like, oh, it's $12 for a tasting, and you go in and they have a bunch of jars, they break them out for you. You sit there and taste a bunch of things and decide what you want to go ahead and take home. That might be. I've never seen a place like that or heard of that either, but that would be kind of cool.
That would be lovely. It took a long time, I want to
They
say,
get
for
around things.
I guess I'm not old enough to remember when the wine tasting rooms became legal or allowed and stuff, but I remember for a long time it wasn't really a thing. Like wine country exists, like in California, you've had wines for 100 years, but there wasn't any real wine culture, honestly. It was very much kind of a closed thing, and it took pretty much my entire life to see the whole wine culture develop into what it is now, and I don't think it's anywhere close to the level of, I don't know, not snobbery, that's not the right word for it, but like involvement in society. Like if you go to Austria, for example, I studied in Austria for a couple of years. Fucking everybody drinks wine. Everyone knows when the early or the what do they call it? The early wine harvest is. They go and they drink the green wine, basically. Everyone knows when the different varietals are harvested. Like everybody fucking knows about wine. Same thing in France. Like I mean, people on the street know about fucking wine. You don't have to be some super snob, right? Here, I don't think that that's nearly the same case. I think most people are still kind of oblivious to wine, right? But there's already the culture, right? From the tasting rooms and the wine snobs and the wine clubs and everything else, right? Like, but that's taken 30, 40 fucking years. So I wonder to myself if it'll take 30 or 40 fucking years for that same kind of a culture in weed to develop, because weed people have been so individual, like they've basically drunk at home, essentially. If we're going to use the wine metaphor, they basically smoked at home or smoked maybe with a couple of friends at home. I don't know. Is it going to take literally that long for us to kind of develop that in public weed culture? I don't know. It seems bizarre.
It could. I can remember being in culinary school, shit, 30 years ago, almost. And one of the things we had to do for one of the back of the house classes we read it at a school restaurant. They run it. They had a special. It was the Beaujolais Nouveau, the release of the first year's wine with the fresh ferment kind of deal. We had a special like an event for that we catered for people. People came in robes and like freaking like wreaths on their head and shit, like dressed up to the hilt for this event. Like it was some fancy that I didn't know shit about. I drank freaking canned beers. Like I was like, whatever. You drink all the fancy, tasting their fresh wines, and I was like, whatever. It was the people were dead serious. This is 30 years in New Jersey. People were dead serious about it. So, I mean, there's like two wineries in New Jersey at the time. Maybe it wasn't that much going on. There's more there now, but I mean, it was already had multiple wineries out here. It was already a scene, so it's well on its way, I think,
I
for
guess the
sure. I mean, we
best
have lots of
metaphor
wine
for that.
stores down here and lots of wine tourism down here, lots of tasting pairings with things all the time. So it's definitely a scene down here. But at the same time, there's box wine everywhere. So it
So
is what it is.
the box wine is actually all right up here. We have a well, I guess you have canned wine down there too. There's
Oh
actually
yeah, cans of wine,
canned
all that
wine,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck was I going to say? I guess the best metaphor for that kind of, or the best analog rather, for that Beaujolais Nouveau festival would be the same thing with in Vienna. They had the new wine basically festivals in the early fall, I guess, after the
Yeah.
harvest. Stuff has just barely been fermented. It's been in the barrel for just a couple, 3, 4 months. I don't remember exactly all the specifics, right? But it's got this really fresh vibe. It's even green, actually. It's still very like vibrant, basically, flavor. The best analog, I think, would be just basically a harvest festival, like a fall harvest festival.
Yeah,
For
pretty
me,
much.
we used to have some of those, right? But I think one by one, they've kind of gone to the wayside a little bit. But wouldn't it be fun to kind of celebrate that barely cured, just dried, kind of fresh flavor? I'm sure, well, I guess we still kind of have that for hash a little bit, but not in the Northwest. It's more in California and the Southwest.
I think what happened in California is we had the Prop 64 and it was all
Mm.
commercial events everywhere. And then the way they had set up new laws, it was kind of like it was kind of grayer. People, you didn't want to have like a private event at a small like a winery, have a private event at your place and have people have cannabis there and sharing it. Because I mean, you can't even give cannabis away for like compassion anymore in California. But you have to have a license for it, all kinds of rules. So it got really complicated. I think that really it kind of broke a lot of that up. People weren't getting together to have a festival because it was like obviously it costs money to put these things together. So people have booths, they sell booth space and all. But then it was all came to where well, if you didn't have a license, you're all at risk. Even if you're a small private event, I mean, you really couldn't orchestrate something that it's getting a little better now. When it sounds like we have some events that are happening that are private. I guess I don't know. I haven't done anything in forever. It seems like so I haven't really paid much attention to it. But I mean, exactly. It's a big event and festival, and now it's not all the people at their harvest. It's a couple dozen big companies that have a big thing going on, and they run events. It's not really the same. Yeah.
It's really unfortunate. And it's an impediment, I want to say, to the kind of better future of cannabis, right? If we only have a few corporate sponsored events, then we're only going to have a corporate future for cannabis, right? Like it's a pretty straight line when you have that kind of situation, and it'll be a very empty culture, and it'll be a very empty, yeah, empty store
I,
shelves.
I
It'll be
remember the Emerald
same
Cup
like.
when almost every other person that came to your booth whipped out their jar, their harvest from this past year. Like, check this out. It was back and forth. I mean, if you were to do that today, they'd be like, "What the fuck are you doing here? Why are you come here to buy this shit? What are you doing?" Like, the attitude isn't like that anymore. It's not like, "Oh yeah, you got seeds. I remember you were here last year. You bought a bunch of those seeds. That looks great." Blah blah. It's that seems to be fading off too quickly here. It's just getting very less personable. It's too much of a business and less of a culture.
Yeah, that is a shame, honestly. I want to say there are still some of the folks that kind of have that old vibe, but
Oh,
yeah.
sure.
I literally that's a fond memory of mine. To this day, I don't know, it's like it's like I don't know, a happy moment in my life. It wasn't a big thing or something, but I was a fairly new grower. It's almost 10 years ago now. This was not quite 10 years ago. It's like 2017 Emerald Cup, actually. I want to say it was the Emerald Cup because I don't think it was the High Times Cup. It was yeah, it was in the winter. I think it was the Emerald Cup. And I basically took a jar of weed that I grew. It was this I didn't have a good name for it. I just called it basically what it was on the pack of seeds is pretty much what I called it. It was Cali Sour OG, and it was basically a Cali Sour cross to no, it was a oh now I don't even remember. So it was so long ago. Anyway, it was a really nice OG. It was really sour. It was very mentholated and everything. It came out of a literal $5 pack of seeds. It was like a $5 monthly thing from Humboldt Seed Org. Anyway, and I think it was the one seed that actually germinated, but it was banger. It was wonderful. And by that time, I was already a good enough grower that I was able to actually grow it well. And to my great pride, I was, you're not supposed to be proud, right? But whatever. But to my pride, I was able to actually take a jar of this, down to the Emerald Cup and show it to the Humboldt Sea Org guys. And they sniffed it, and the one guy, like, it was so good that he was like, tapped his friend on the shoulder, and the guy came over, and they can we? And they rolled it up, and they gave me, I can't even remember, like 300 seats. Basically, after that, and they're like, "Oh shit, find the best one." And I just that was such a like a pat on my shoulder. I was like,
Yeah.
"Fuck yeah, bro, yeah." And these days, I'm just like, could you even do that? I don't know. I don't think that that would happen. I don't know. Maybe if the Humboldt Seed guys were there, or maybe if HSO or not HSO, what's his name? The CSI guy, or there's a few guys probably that are nerdy enough that they might do that, right? But I think a lot of the booths, first of all, you're not going to see a lot of seed booths anymore at these shows. So you're going to basically see a lot of just weed companies, and they don't give a fuck about you, right? Like, what are you going to do? Show off the weed of theirs
Well,
that you?
yeah. And the thing is, too, everything is all packaged and QR coded and everything. I mean, they can't just give shit away. I mean, you got to pay something for it. They got to pay for it, or something's got to. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, it happens. I don't know. Hopefully we can bring some of the, we need to claw some of this culture back because it's asinine. We can't give it all to the
I mean,
fucking
I don't miss the big slabs sitting out that are getting like dust on them, just falling and getting all dirty. I don't miss that so much. Like end of the day, like you're gonna hit that. It's been sitting out in the open for like 8 hours now, and we're in the at the freaking Emerald Cup was like where they run horses and shit around. Like this dirt on the ground here isn't like good air we're breathing in here.
perfect
Smoking
segue
the
for
door.
this. Let me see. I need to post this in a new. I want to post this in a new. Dang it. All right. I'm just going to post this on this page. Hold on. This
Citizen
guy, I'm
benefit.
not going to do the sound, but I'm going to show you. Hold on. Hopefully I don't get copyright struck by this. This gentleman is dabbing a roach. This is our weed culture right now. This gentleman, he's apparently a Wisconsin cheesehead, I believe. He's getting a live roach and he's going to dab it.
Oh man, come on.
Fucked up too.
Come on.
Gross.
This
I'm gonna
guy's
take
fucking
my
real.
sauce.
Oh, my absolute fuck.
And some people are worried about getting a fucking fungus gnat on their
Yeah,
pot.
exactly. Exactly. Oh my God, what happens if I smoke 3 particles of powdery mildew? Yep. Yep.
Oh my god.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm gonna stop it there because that's just disgusting. But yeah, that's our weed culture right now. That's pretty much it's either that or High Times releasing YouTube videos, 30-minute YouTube videos announcing the prizes to their new fucking contest. I don't know. I stopped watching those. It seems so self-congratulatory. I don't know, but perhaps I'm all wrong. I don't know. Yeah, we need to do something about this.
Well, there's something going on in the world these days. So there's so much that social media has all these videos like that where it's just like, what the fuck? Like people are just trying to see how ridiculous and outrageous they can be,
Yep.
just so people will click a like button on them or something. I mean,
Some of the
hundreds of people have died from doing ridiculous, stupid shit to get likes. I mean, at some point you
yeah,
gotta wake the fuck up.
it's so strange to me. I really can't make heads or tails of it. I think maybe it's because so many kids watch the internet now. I don't know honestly, because one of the biggest food TikTokers, I guess she is. I think she has TikTok all over I think she has social media all over the place. But I see her all the time. I'm subscribed to Stupid Food on Reddit, and every single day this woman comes up, and every single time I click on it, I just basically avoid it because it's rage bait essentially at this point. But even though Stupid Food actually is a really funny subreddit, but this chick, she puts the weirdest shit together. She does it all with like cans, and then she like intentionally mispronounces the words. She's just like the fucking American chick, basically. But she says like garlic instead of garlic. Like she just intentionally fucks stuff up so that she stimulates engagement. And people have talked about it in the chat. It's as if she's going through a checklist of every single possible thing that she could
Yep.
do to maximize engagement. And sure enough, that's what these people do. And wouldn't you know it, she gets like 30 million views per video and
Well,
shit.
get
She's
money
probably
from it.
raking in the fucking cash with stupid like bean casseroles where it's literally like a can of beans covered in cheese that she then toasts, and then it's all fucked up and raw on the inside, and then she takes a spoon and pretends to be happy. What a fucking video. And this is a business model. Like I find it so incomprehensible. But I guess
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't,
understand it either.
yeah, it's it, it I yeah. I don't. Is this our old men yelling at clouds moment? I don't understand.
Maybe I should
But,
start doing like Canada stuff where I harvest everything at 4 weeks in and say how fucking awesome it is, and
that's it.
only fucking grow herms or something. I don't know.
That's it. Here comes hardcore to explain the philosophy of millennial America or some shit. I don't understand it. Yeah, seriously. Yeah. Hardcore's hooking up here. We got a lot of problems with you people. Hardcore, explain these things to us.
What's that?
What'd you say?
Explain what's that? I asked.
Oh, we're just goofing off. We're fucking goofing off about weird TikTok. Here's the story that I found that I thought was encouraging, ladies and gentlemen, as we slowly start to wrap up the show. Oh, by the way, for 8 years now, I've been talking about Ruby Jack, and I've been talking about the strawberry candies that it tastes
Oh,
like, at least the strawberry sound side of it. And I
look,
never knew the name of them. They're apparently called strawberry bonbons. It came up on Reddit the other day. It was basically this from Fuck I'm Old. It's more than 40 years later. I still don't know what this candy is called. It was basically something on Reddit, and they're called strawberry bonbons. So everybody, this
they're
this
in
is
every Hickory Farm box.
there you go. And who doesn't like the strawberry bonbons? Come on.
My
Nothing
kid's
for
got it.
you.
My kid last year bought a 3 pound bag of those off of Amazon because she likes them
He
so
zombie,
much.
you don't like strawberry bonbons?
I do. No, no, I'm saying I do.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, the
Yeah,
fuck
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Oh, what was the other story? That wasn't the story I was going to show you. I was going to show you this. I was going to show you a long-term cannabis use and cognitive function findings from a longitudinal study. That's a mouthful. This is from
That's what she
cannabissciencetech.com,
said.
written by Aaron McAvoy, nice one, D, from last month. Recently published study examined the effects of cannabis use on age-related cognitive function in adults, noting the limited number of studies in this area compared to studies. Okay, that's a mouthful right there. The researchers sought to examine the relationship between cannabis use from early adulthood to late midlife and cognitive decline. In other words, does cannabis use relate to cognitive decline in some way? The study, cannabis use and age-related changes in cognitive. Okay. The study examined data from 5,162 Danish men born between. I feel like I've actually talked about this story before, but whatever. We'll talk about it again because this was a different article. Born between 1949 and 1961, who had participated in assessments on cognitive aging and in follow-up questionnaires. Data from the Danish Aging and Cognitive or Cognition cohort was used. I love that they have a Danish Aging and Cognition cohort. It's probably a little team of like Power Rangers, which was administered when the mean age of participants was 20. The follow-up questionnaires covered socioeconomic, lifestyle, and health-related factors and was administered when the mean age of participants was 64. Goodness gracious. They asked about cannabis use, first cannabis use. Participants were characterized as either cannabis users or non-cannabis users based on frequency of use. Age of initiation to cannabis was categorized into less than 18 years of age, between age 18 to 25, and older than 25 years of age, because of course some people only smoke it a couple times when they're young, and then again.
Higher
Uh,
IQ for
yeah. So the mean cognitive decline, yeah, we'll skip to the point, was 6.2 IQ points for the whole study population over an average of 44 years. In other words, you get dumber as you get older, which is unfortunate. 39.3% had used cannabis at least once. The initiation age for most cannabis users was before 18, naughty naughty. At the initial assessment, cannabis users had a slightly higher average IQ because we're smart enough to use cannabis. While at the follow-up assessment, the mean IQ difference between cannabis users and non-users was somewhat larger. The population of cannabis users had a higher proportion of smokers, more years of binge drinking, and significantly higher proportion with a history of drug use. Well, that's not great. Higher proportion of cannabis users had previous hospital diagnoses with psychiatric disorders, also not great. Additionally, there was less cognitive decline in cannabis users versus non-cannabis users. In the adjusted model, cannabis use was associated with 1.3 IQ points less cognitive decline. All right, we'll take it. 1.3 points, not a lot, but we'll fucking take it. We'll take it. It's small, well, thank goodness for small favors. Ultimately, the study concluded that men with a history of cannabis use had less cognitive decline from early adulthood to late midlife compared to men without a cannabis or history of cannabis use. Among cannabis users, neither age of initiation of cannabis use nor frequent use was significantly associated with greater age-related cognitive decline. In other words, all you people are going to be so much smarter. Well, 1.3 IQ points smarter than everyone else when you get old. It's not a lot, but it's enough to. What do they say with bears? You don't have to be the fastest, you just have to be faster than the slowest. So if you're 1.3% smarter,
That's right.
we'll call it good. What do you think, Hardcore? What's new with you, buddy?
Oh,
I was probably busy building houses.
You're on mute.
He's trying to figure out how to unmute himself without falling off that ladder.
uh,
Don't do it.
cheers, everybody in chat.
Cheers, folks.
Yeah,
Well,
man.
if we can't think of something else here to say, maybe we'll start to wrap it up here a little tiny bit early. Who else in the chat here? We've got Ganja Lion hanging with us. He says,
Rawr.
in the New York City, hell yeah, here in New York City, the subway surfing is crazy. Right on.
Wait,
How's the legalization in New York? I guess I never asked you, Ganja Lion, if you were in New York. How's legalization happening there? Because New York's one of the newest legal states.
that's okay.
It's going to be a total Wild West and stuff. Man, we haven't heard from the American one in quite a while. I wonder what he's up to.
Good movement, baby girl.
Brain Dead's asking, basically, I think he's asking if I sell seeds. I normally do, yeah, Brain Dead, but I kind of took my seed store down. Basically, I've been moving and stuff. It's just been too much bullshit, so didn't want to deal with it. So hopefully, maybe in a couple weeks, I'm gonna start things back and try to reinvigorate stuff. Who else in the chat here? Brain Dead's hanging with us. Digger's hanging with us. There we go. I knew I didn't see somebody. Cheers, Digger. Good to see you, buddy. Okay, Smokey is hanging with us.
Gee.
Dabber.
Mortal Kombat.
Hi, bro. What's that, D?
Those Smokies from Mortal Kombat.
Probably. Finish him. What did Ganja Lion say? Never checked it out because I've been growing so long, but it's expensive to get into. Oh, the legal market? Yeah, I would imagine so. In Florida, what was it, a few $1 million you had to have basically to become a grower? Like literally, they were not giving it to normal people. You had to basically be part of the old boys club. They had like a capital, yeah, what was it? A minimum capital requirement, basically. Something like that. I can't think of the there's a word for that. Minimum capital. I can't think of the word. Anyway, a lot of times they have that for like the big sports franchise buyout offers. Like the people have to show that they have enough fucking billions in the bank just to prove that they're rich enough to be part of that fucking club. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
very interesting news actually with Jay-Z. He was just about to get an NFL team, and sure enough, the got hit with apparently rape accusations as well as some other stuff. So we'll see if that happens. Especially at that financial level, they're playing with fire, aren't they? Although it's pretty easy not to go raping, so, right? Pretty easy to just avoid or raping anybody.
Wait, what? What's in Kentucky now?
What's in Kentucky?
Oh, I can tell you, Mrs. D's Christmas present's on the way.
Where
It's in
did it
Kentucky.
start off in Missouri, or is it like?
No, Portland.
Oh, right on. Funny.
Yeah.
It's funny. Does she know what it is?
No.
Oh, good. We're not gonna
Yeah.
tell her. Ladies and gentlemen, don't spill the beans. Don't say anything. If you're in Kentucky and you see Mrs. D's present, don't say a fucking word. Nothing. Nothing at all. All right, ladies and gentlemen, maybe we'll slowly make our way out of here. I'll go over and at my house a little bit this afternoon. And what else? You guys have any big plans for the after? Oh, we lost Hardcore. I know Hardcore is working on that house. So that's probably his plans for the day. Do you got any big plans for the afternoon?
Not sure yet. Gonna watch the newer, older Star Trek movie. That's what I was watching before the show. The one
New
with the
or older? Which one is that then?
the one with the newer Captain Kirk.
Oh, oh, just it's called Star Trek, I think, from
Yeah,
15 years ago.
yeah. Apparently, there's two more after that. I didn't know. So,
Yeah, Star Trek Beyond and Star Trek After Darkness, I want to say.
yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
watch those next.
Fun movies, but definitely not the right Star Trek vibe. You know, they very much went off in the pew pew, shoot everybody kind of thing. Especially the Star Trek After Darkness, it goes full on like, oh, it's okay to kill everybody. Very much not the kind of Star Trek vibe, but it was the J.J. Abrams kind of era, and they actually just re-signed him again. So I guess we'll see more of that stuff. I don't know. I think they really wasted that opportunity. I think Chris Pine was actually a good potential Kirk, and they only, I
Yeah.
mean, three movies, so I guess they didn't waste him, but fuck, they could have done a couple more movies with that cast, but they just blew it, and they're all too old now. So I guess they'll have to recast everybody. Real shame with Anton Yelchin. You guys remember him? He played
Chekhov.
Gov. Yeah,
Oh,
he got pinned in his
nice. Truck.
condo. Yeah, he set his emergency brake, but that model of what car was it? It was a Jeep. It was a Jeep Wrangler, I want to say. It might be something else, but I think it was a Jeep. Anyway, it was like a 4x4, and it basically the emergency brake on that model had a tendency to undo, basically. And he was behind the car getting something out of the trunk, and the car
Oh, no.
rolled him up against the concrete pylon of his condo building and just pinned him to death, basically. Poor fucking
Oh,
guy. Yeah, poor fucking guy. Anyway. So let's get ourselves out of here. North Star, go for it. The floor is yours.
Thanks for having me on. Got some killer deals at Genetic Supply website right now. Gooey Breeder, Canada Exotic stuff, all kinds of killer stuff he has. Is on a great deal right now. Um, Several menus I had that are a few more weeks left until the end of the year, and they'll be gone. They're on discount, so all kinds of sales. I got some killer, got some Phantom Zone clones. That's actually what I'm smoking on right now. Some Darkwood clones, all kinds of mix of fun stuff. Got some new freebies from some other people sending freebies. Flora sent us some more freebies. So we have two free packs with every one of his packs you buy from South Bay. So we got a nice little mix of promos and freebies going for the holidays. So jump on there. That's what I was doing all morning, packing up stuff. And I got the rest of my greenhouse to take down this afternoon. It's all kind of fluffy. So I'm not actually going to sit here and bother trimming all of it. I'm basically just lopping off, taking all the fan leaves off and just lopping off all the nugs. And I'm going to dry some and just, I'm going old school and bricking it all up for myself. Just like rip off little hunks of brick and just grind it up and twist it up.
Why not? Why bother
Yeah,
trimming?
why not? I
Yeah.
haven't smoked any brickweed since I was in high school, and I can guarantee this is gonna be a lot better than the brickweed I smoked in high school.
How are you
So
gonna brick it? Are you gonna brick it in like a press or what?
I have some already. I've wrapped it in the parchment and like pressed it with weight,
Okay.
and then I've just also done it where I've just vacuum sealed it with the vacuum sealer, and the vacuum sealer really gets it tight. I mean, from what I remember getting brickweed back in the day, obviously, this is early '90s. It was pretty much like shrink wrapped. It wasn't like vacuum sealed. It was like a shrink wrap. Like it was probably press weighted, but then it was shrink wrapped around the outside of it for the most part. So it wasn't even as much pressure as say the vacuum sealer puts on it. So it should be pretty simple. Just basically, I'm going to try doing without even any kind of parchment. I mean, well, I use parchment to like form a brick, and then I'll slide it in there bare and just a piece of plastic for the vacuum sealer and seal it up.
Learn to try it. It'll be
Yeah.
very. Yeah. Let's. I'm curious how it ends up. I'm very curious.
Well,
Cheers.
I'll bring it on the show. We'll have to crack one open to
That's it. Yeah, it'll be fun to see it. Right
smoke
on.
some.
Cheers. Good to see you.
Yeah. Hope everyone has a great day and take care.
Yeah, man. You too. Good to see you.
Later.
See,
See
it's
you.
all you, buddy.
thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks to North Star for coming and hanging out. As always, thanks to Fumidor for putting this together. Without our fearless leader, well, what else will we have? Community. I hope everyone has a great day. Don't forget to tune in Saturday, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 7 o'clock Pacific with the pre-show on my channel. Before that, hope everyone has a great rest of the week, and we'll see you Saturday.
Yeah, man. Cheers, dude.
One love.
That's it. Ladies and gerbils, my neck's killing me a little bit, so I'll try to keep this brief. Ladies and gentlemen, New Flea and Ganja Lion, Rory Gardner, Jones and Two Grow, Tigro, Finding Keepers, Okie Smoky. Who else in here? Digger, did I already say Digger? I did say Digger. Joseph Anthony, I knew I missed somebody. Old fashioned coffee. But look at that. How do you do, fellow kids? I almost missed you, Coffee Pot. Good to see you, buddy. Snuck right in there. Uh, who else am I missing? Brain Dead. Good to see you, Brain Dead. Miranda Family Friend.
Ah,
And nice. He's a big fan of the fresh brains. Well, that's all I can see right now. Ladies and gerbils, if I didn't shout you out, consider yourselves shouted out for next time. Hopefully, I'll catch your name. And of course, it doesn't hurt to say hello so that we can shout you out a little bit more easily. But in the meantime, ladies and gerbils, be kind, be decent, be gentle, don't be fucking prick sticks or lunatics. Let's see here. D, are we going to do a takeover show on Saturday?
yes, sir.
Right on. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Not the same time, but it is the same place. We're going to be doing a little bit later in the evening, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I guess it would make sense. I'm telling you, my neck is hurting so much that I can't do simple addition. So, ladies and gentlemen, I guess I'll wrap it up there. Thanks very much for hanging.